How's it going, rednecks? I'm getting ready to install the Denali center console in the Yukon, and in my comment section of when I did the Denali center console in the Tahoe, a few of you suggested hooking them two speakers up to the CB radio. And what I'm talking about is there's two speakers down in the cluster that come out right here out the side. And I kind of want to go over what I found. I have a bunch of speakers here and a little bit of information. So what do you say? I get started by going over what all these are. So what I have right here, this is the original speaker out from the console right here. These two speakers happen to be the speakers from the D pillar. And to show you what I'm referring to, this is your D pillar and that is your D pillar speaker. And they bolt right in. And to show you, I have one bolted in here. This is actually the speaker out of there. So technically, you could use either one of these speakers. And then thirdly, I have this. This is the aftermarket CB speaker from my yellow Oldsmobile. And what's important is the original speaker that comes out of the center console is a 4-ohm speaker. Now, what's really weird is the D-pillar speakers are different. If you have the Bose speakers, they are a 12-ohm speaker, and if you have the non-Bose, or I guess standard sound, which would be like the Tahoes and stuff, you have a 4-ohm speaker. And what we're shooting for is what I thought online said 10 to 12 ohms of resistance, and then I took this guy apart, and lo and behold, there is an 8-ohm speaker in there. So what I'm trying to do is create 8 ohms out of either one of them 3 speakers. And I'm going to show you how to use a voltmeter to figure out your ohms. And then I'm going to go over what we're going to do to try and get our 8 ohms. With all of our speakers laid out, I want to go over how to check the ohms on them, or the resistance. And how we do that is you take your voltmeter, put it to the resistance or ohm setting, and then you're going to just touch off on the 2 leads. So this speaker right here is the one that came out of the center console, and it is 3.5, 3.6 ohms, and I put that one as a 4 ohm. Now on this one, you could try to get to the 2 tabs on the inside, but right on the outside here and here are solder points for the speaker itself, so we can just go off of them. And this is one of the D-pillars non-Bose. And it's 3.7, and I will say that is your ohm symbol right there next to the 4. This is a 4 ohm speaker. The other 2 don't say what ohms they are, so I had to check them. So I put that as a 4 ohm. And then we got this guy right here, which is the Bose System D pillar. And it's looking like 12.5, so I put that one down as a 12 ohm. And then this guy right here. This is a audio jack, and it's a 2-channel audio jack because there is a divider in the middle. So this tip is your common, and then this is one channel, and this is another channel. And I might have that wrong, but I do know that these 2 are the only ones being used in this. So what do you say we check our resistance across them 2, and it's looking like 8. And if I go to the other channel, you'll see there's nothing there. And to confirm that, I did tear this apart. And if you take a look right there, that is your ohm symbol again, and this is 8 ohm. So what we got to try and do is use a either 4 ohm or a 12 ohm speaker in series or parallel to try and achieve 8 ohm. So why don't I go over the diagram of what I have going on, or what I found out, and we'll see what we can come up with. First things first is if we use 2 4 ohm speakers in series, so I'm running power, or I'm running in on one power, going out the negative, back in the positive, so these 2 are tied together, and then I come out the negative, and I connect my voltmeter up. You'll see I'm sitting at about 7.1. So chances are this is going to be what I end up running, but what happens if we run these in parallel? Well, let me get that set up. And here we are with the 2 4 ohm speakers, the same ones running in parallel, and that's just negative to negative, positive to positive, both running, and we are sitting at 2.2 ohms of resistance. Now keep in mind, the lower the resistance, the harder it is going to be on your amp, so you want a higher. So if we're technically shooting for 8 to 10 ohms would be a ideal spot Otherwise, you're going to be overworking your amp or whatever you're running from. So this would be really hard on my CB radio. Let's get the 12 ohms and we'll put those in series. All right, with the two 12 ohm speakers in series, we should be seeing about 24 ohms. We are seeing 25.4. This would be a really light load. I don't know what would happen if you actually ran these on a lower ohm system. I'm not going to try to find that out. But yeah, this is just going in one, feeding to power, we'll say, coming out the negative, going to the positive of the other, feeding out the negative. So let's try and run these in parallel and see what we end up with. So here we are with the two 12 ohm speakers in parallel, and that would be negative and negative going to one terminal here, and then positive and positive going to another terminal. We should be seeing around 6 ohms, and we are at 6.4. So this is a little bit of a heavier load, so I don't think we're going to be able to run the 12s, which is perfect. I think we found our what we're going to be running. We're going to be running the two 4 ohms in series. And just to show what the unit in is, I have one clamp on the front here and one on the back one, so the channel that's being used, and we are sitting at 8.2. So there we go. I have the two 4 ohm speakers in series. So I have the yellow wire going to the blue wire of this one, and then the yellow wire and blue wire plugged into this audio jack, and this is a single channel audio jack. So I have one prong on the common and then the other one on the channel. And if you look, we're sitting at about 7.3, 7.4, and we wanted to be at about 8.4. So I think this is going to work perfect. And I suggest you doing this for your speakers if you want to do something similar to this. Maybe you're looking for 12 ohm, maybe you're looking for 10 ohm. I was looking for 8, and this is going to work out perfect. So what do you say we get this plugged in and we compare it to the Uniden? This is going to be kind of hard to test because obviously I can't get anybody talking on the CB. So what I did is I pointed the antenna right up here to this fluorescent light, and it is giving it all kinds of static. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my volume knob vertical, and we're going to see how loud it is with the volume vertical with all the static. And then we're going to hook up the Uniden and see how loud it is. So this is going to be kind of a subjective test. It's going to be my choice, I guess, whether I want to say the speakers on that one or this one, because you're not going to be able to pick it up on camera, but I'll show you anyways. So here it is with the speakers that we just got done doing, so not the Uniden. Okay, that was pretty loud. Let's plug in the Uniden. Alright, I haven't tried this yet, so I have no idea what to expect, but here is the Uniden. And I guess for anybody interested, this is with neither one of the speakers plugged in, so this will be just the speaker off the bottom, which I won't be able to use because once the center console's in, this will be all captured. But for shits and giggles, let's see what that'll sound like. Yeah. So I don't know how appropriate of a test that was, but full volume with just this speaker was about equivalent to half volume on either one of these. Now the nice thing about the Uniden is you could point it at where you want the source or the audio to be pointed, where these are going to be kind of down in my footwell. So it'll be interesting to see if that will echo around and come up to me and actually be louder or quieter. So what do you say we get this thing installed and then I show you the final results. And for anyone asking how I mounted this, it was a pain in the butt. I actually mounted it to the old CB brackets, so all I got to do is unclick those and pull it out, as well as it is screwed in. And on top of that, I had to cut a significant amount of this steel bracket out and weld in a reinforcement. So in other words, that CB to be put in this truck is a lot of work. Whereas the one in my Tahoe, all I did was gut the original CB out of the steel tray here, bolted it to that, and this can actually unclip and pull out if you remove this faceplate. So these smaller ones, significantly easier. And with all that being said, how about we get that installed in the truck with the rest of the center console. man, rednecks, that looks good. And that was quite the undertaking, and you might not think it's a lot, but there's a lot of wiring that goes into this, because not only do these things open and close and look really sharp, but I put orange LEDs inside the cup holders, as well as the cigarette lock, box. And that guy right there is all wired in, so that's your driver information center. And I have all orange LEDs in that as well. Not only that, but the rear light for the feet are hooked up to the interior lights. So that comes on and off with the interior instead of just having constant power like in my Tahoe. But that right there is what this video is all about. And there we go. I don't know where I'm going to hang my CB thing right now. My handle right now is just going to sit in the center console. But here we go with the handle plugged in. We're going to see what this thing sounds like. We're going to do half volume again and see what it is. Yeah, I can't even talk over that. Yeah, that's awesome. Heck yeah, rednecks. I am super happy with how that turned out. And for all you guys wondering how I got such a nice looking console, pretty much good luck getting these guys right here, because a curious kid in the back seat's going to break those. These things break off, all of them. Not only that, this little tab, it is hard finding those as well. And you might ask, how do I know? Because if you look in the back of the truck, it tells quite the story. I've bought quite a few of these consoles, and there are a lot of broken parts back here. Not only that, I had to sand all of my parts, and then prep them, and then paint them. And I gotta say, it looks good. I have all the best parts on this truck, and all the second best parts in that truck. And if you want information on how to install one of these center console, watch that little link right up there in the corner, and I have a full video on the install of this one. The console in the Yukon is definitely a lot further in depth. I didn't care to go over all the painting. There's tons of videos on plastic prep and paint, but this was mostly on the CB radio there, and I'm happy it's done, and I can move on to the next project. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and get back to work. You gonna help do the intro? You gonna do the intro? Here, you point to the speakers and you tell everybody what to do.